So today we're going to start talking about angle measure. So if you are absent or you just need a little bit of extra help, hopefully this video will help you. So before we can talk about angles, we've got to talk about something called a ray. So a ray has one endpoint, and then it goes forever in the other direction. So we've talked about lines. Lines go in both directions forever and ever. We've talked about a segment. A segment has two endpoints. So a ray is kind of a combination of both. It has one endpoint and the other side goes on forever. So all an angle is two rays that meet at a common endpoint. So this says, this will be for your notes, an angle is formed by two rays with a common endpoint. This common endpoint is called the vertex. The rays are called the sides. So that would be the sides of the angle. So like this BA and BC, those would be the rays. So it says name the angle using capital letters. So we have to use capital letters when we name the angle. The middle letter has to be the vertex. So B would have to be the vertex. So like, for example, I could name this angle A, B, C, or C, B, A. Or angle C, B, A. This right here, that's the degrees of the angle. So if you ever see a little M in front of the angle, that's just saying the degree measure of the angle. Okay, so this just kind of sums it all up. So an angle is formed by two non-collinear rays. We don't want it to make a straight line, so we want a non-collinear rays. X would be the vertex here. This ray XY would be a side of the angle, and XZ would be the other side of the angle. So let's talk about angle measures. So hopefully you know this. Hopefully this is all review. If an angle is acute, it's less than 90 degrees. If an angle is right, it's exactly 90 degrees. If an angle is obtuse, it's more than 90 degrees. And a straight angle is always 180 degrees. So you do need to know those. Let's also talk about ways to name an angle. So if I have an angle right here, this example, I could name it angle 1. That's just the number inside in between that angle. So that's okay to name it by that. I could also name it angle B, or I could name it angle QBT or TBQ. So you might be thinking, why would I name it with the three letters when I could just name it angle 1 or angle B? Well, let me show you. Sometimes angles are connected to other angles. So say I had another letter right here. If I just said angle B, you wouldn't know which angle I was talking about. So like this big angle, I would have to say TBC or CBT to be talking about the big angle. I would have to say CBQ or QBC to be talking about that angle, and then QBT or TBQ to be talking about the other angle. So I could not just name an angle B if it's connected to another angle. So you have to be really careful with that, and also make sure your vertex, the letter B, would be the middle letter when you're naming. Notice B is in the middle of both of those. So here's some things for your notes that you need to have. So an acute angle, acute is less than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. A right angle equals 90 degrees. And a straight angle equals 180 degrees. So make sure you know those. You will need to know those for your test. So if I'm looking at this example here, what would be the vertex of that angle? I hope you said K is that middle letter. Then the two sides of that angle would be KL ray, and KJ. That would be the other ray. So 3 ways to name this angle. So I can name it angle JKL, JKL. I could name it angle LKJ. And in this case, since it's not connected to another angle, I could name it angle K. I'm going to classify this angle. How would you classify it? Acute, obtuse, right, or straight? What do you think by the picture? It would be obtuse because it is bigger. It's greater than 90 degrees. Okay, let's try the next one. Name the vertex. So the vertex is always that middle letter, which would be S. The sides would be SR and ST. Those are my rays. 3 ways to name the angle are ST or TSR. And then, or I could also name it angle S because it is not connected to any other angle. Then it said classify the angle. Well, do you see how there's a box right here? That box means it's a 90-degree angle, so that would be classified as right. So if you need to pause this to write all that down, I was going to try to move it up, but I don't think I can, so I'll go ahead and talk about this too. So congruent angles are angles that have the exact same degree measure. So I don't know what goes in that blank. So it would be written as angle A is congruent to angle B. I know what goes here. So if A equals B, if angle A equals angle B, then the angles are congruent. So notice they both have a 75-degree angle. So let's talk about marking congruent angles in geometry. So in geometry, we mark congruent angles with little humps. So like that right there would be equal to that right there. So just like with segments, we mark them with the little slashy marks. Angles we mark with the humps. So these 2 angles are equal. They each have 1 hump. These 2 angles are equal. They have 2 humps. So all 4 are not equal to each other, but I know these 2 are equal and those 2 are equal. So we mark congruent angles with those little humps. Okay, so this is just an example that we go through. It says name the vertex of angle 2. So if I locate angle 2, that's right here. I like to trace it so I can see it better. The vertex would be B. Name the sides of angle 5. So I'm going to trace angle 5 right here. So the sides would be TS and TW. TS, TW. What's another name for angle 4? Here's angle 4. I could not just say angle T because T is connected to other angles, so I would have to name it with 3 letters. So I could say UTS or STU. UTS or STU. What is another name for angle TWV? So what color? I'll use black. TWV. Well, do you see that number 1 on the inside? I could just name it angle 1. And then it says name a point on the interior of angle STV. So STV is this angle right here. The point that's interior to that would be W. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, so on this one, you're just classifying each angle as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. So let's look at each angle. So PMN has that box, so that would be right. Angle QML is less than 90 degrees, so that would be acute. Angle NMQ is more than 90 degrees, so that would be obtuse. And then angle LMN is that straight line, so that would be a straight angle. But you'll have some problems too where you'll have to find the degree measure. So what if they tell us that angle PMO is 40 degrees? So PMO is 40 degrees. And I need to find angle OMN. Well, notice this is a 90-degree angle. So if you know that angle is 40, this angle would have to be 50 because 50 plus 40 is 90. But what if angle LMO, so this doesn't exist anymore, LMO is 150 degrees. That whole angle is 150 degrees. Now what's OMN? Well, this is a straight angle, which has to be 180 degrees. So if I know that's 150, then this would have to be 30, because 150 plus 30 will equal 180. All right. And then the last concept we have to talk about is bisect. So a bisector cuts something in half. So a ray or line or a segment, I'm just going to say a ray, that divides an angle into two congruent angles. That would be a bisector, an angle bisector. So in the diagram here, DB or BD is an angle bisector. Therefore, angle ABD would be congruent to angle DBC. So those two pieces would equal each other. So pause if you need to for your notes. So the last type of problem we have to talk about is this one. So this says that PN bisects this big angle. So that's going to make this angle right here equal to this angle right here. So this says find the value of x if MPN is 9x plus 3, and NPR is 13x minus 9. So since we have a bisector, those angles have to equal each other. So I would do 9x plus 3 equals 13x minus 9, and then solve it. Minus 9x, 4x minus 9 equals 3, add 9. I'm running out of room. I'm going to change color so you can see it better. So 12 equals 4x, divide by 4, x would equal 3. Okay, so there is a little bit of algebra in today's too. Oh, I just thought that was cute. Okay, so on your assignment, on the first ones, you're going to name the angles in 3 different ways. So like for example, number 1, you could name that angle B, the middle letter, the vertex, or ABC, or angle CBA. So put that little angle symbol in front of it so I know what you're talking about. 5 through 7, you're actually going to draw an angle. I don't care what the angle looks like. It can be acute, obtuse, right, straight. Make an angle and then label it CAB. So then you're going to draw pictures of the other angles. For the next section, you're going to name 3 different angles that you see. So like on number 8, you would see angle DB or CD or CBD, I can't talk, CBD. You would see angle DBA. But then also, what about the big angle, CBA? So you're going to do that on all of these. this section, you're going to classify each angle as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. So like number 11, you would look, it says EBF, so EBF is right here. That would be acute, it's less than 90, but you also have to find the degrees. So if you'll notice, this is a 90-degree angle. So if you do 90 minus 39, that's going to give you that measure. So you'll have to do that on all of those. And then you're going to have to name the vertex of each angle. So the vertex is just one letter only. When you name the sides of each angle, that's 2 letters. 2 for this side and 2 letters for that side. Another name for the angle, so you might have to name it with 3 letters, not just 1, if it's connected to another angle. Like you can't just say angle T, because that's connected to other angles, so you have to name it with 3 letters. And then you have a little bit of algebra. So since it's bisecting, you will put those equal to each other. So I hope that helps. If you have questions, let me know.